You had a number of meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, who, when you met him 10 years ago, he was convicted of soliciting prostitution from minors. What did you know about him when you were meeting with him, as you've said yourself, in the hopes of raising money?
Uh, I had dinners with him. I regret doing that. He had relationships with people he said, would give to global health, which is a interest I have. Not nearly enough philanthropy goes in that direction. Those meetings were a mistake. They didn't result in what he purported, and I cut them off. That goes back a long time ago now, so there's nothing new on that.
It was reported that you continued.
Well, he's dead, so, in general, you always have to be careful.
Jeffrey Epstein is the particular person we're going to be talking about in this video. Now, Jeffrey Epstein is a very well-known person by the time I make this video right now. I don't know when people are watching this video. I don't know if it's in fucking 2072, 2096, but I'm fucking practically about to croak by that time. But Jeffrey Epstein is essentially, in a nutshell, a sex ringist, occultist, and he is a multi-millionaire, or was a multi-millionaire, and was all those other things before. Now he is dead because he hanged himself, or it's at least insinuated that he hanged himself by a lot of officials within the government. But most people like me and you probably think that he did not kill himself and was rather strangled by some guy and then hanged. I think that's most likely actually what happened. And I'll probably talk about that either later in the video, or I won't mention it at all and we'll forget all about it. But still, one of the things that made Jeffrey Epstein so famous is the people that he was connected with. Jeffrey Epstein knew people like Donald Trump and all the way back to Bill Clinton, of course, Hillary Clinton's wife. Yeah, that's a guy right here. So, if these were not the only people that Jeffrey Epstein knew, he knew a lot of other people that were not even part of politics, but were rather just people that were celebrities. So they were just fucking there. He was friends with people like Ben Affleck, and would occasionally even invite him over to his island so they could have a couple of martinis. Another particular person that would enter his island on occasion was Barack Obama, the 44th president of the United States of America. Okay, so now we're going to skip some time periods, and we're going to go all the way to the Epstein Island. Now, to understand the Epstein Island, we first have to talk about the particular people that have infiltrated themselves within the Epstein Island. And let's understand that format first before we go anywhere else. Jeffrey Epstein was not the particular head honcho, although yes, he was the boss. He had many people working for him, and a particular person that was working for him, who is now very known, is a female. This female drove herself into a lot of people's offices, like politicians, of course, and managed to convert a lot of governors. Well, can't really say convert because they're probably very nasty, but still. She managed to manipulate a lot of governors and a lot of politicians and even foreign presidents, which is fucking crazy. And so imagine how much people might have actually been involved in this sex ring. We don't know. That's why we only can imagine. And then, of course, besides this particular woman that was working for Jeffrey Epstein as Jeffrey Epstein's kind of right-hand woman, did I just point at my fucking left hand? Jeffrey Epstein is the center of the piece, of course, and that's why we're going to talk about him real quick. Now, Jeffrey Epstein was always a very weird person. And the reason why I say that is very obvious and blatant. A lot of people that he knew at his particular college that he worked at. This is put in all of the reports about him in his college that he worked at, where he was a professor. A lot of the females said that they felt extremely uncomfortable when he would be walking in the hallway and just looking at them like this kind of pervert old creep. This cannot be covered up by the fact that he had a big brain, because he got bootlegged from this job because of the fact that he was bad at it. And after this, he ended up joining an organization where he was essentially a sort of money brother and would only accept people that had a net worth of over $1 billion. Now, all this is enough to have somebody insinuate and even pinpoint that this guy, Jeffrey Epstein, is a fucking freak show. I mean, I just explained the fucking definition of a fucking freak show, dude. That is the definition. So now let's talk about the Epstein Island. What took place on the Epstein Island? Well, of course, the Epstein Island is a place where, ritualistically speaking, a bunch of celebrities and pop culture figures would go. And a lot of people were on this list. And I'll just show you guys the list real quick, actually. It was a huge amount of people that are politics and a huge amount of people that were celebrities, very known to the society as a whole. And willing to guarantee that most of you guys probably know who these people are on this list. Now, what made Jeffrey Epstein a lot different from all the other sex traffickers in the world is the fact that he didn't necessarily work by himself. He had an entire module of people behind him. At least that is the running theory. Because, again, this woman that was working for him was trying to get a bunch of politicians on their side for a reason. And this person was a sex slave for Jeffrey Epstein. Now, obviously, the reason why Jeffrey Epstein did this and was trying to get these people to join his particular group of people, very interesting people, was so he can get these people to cross over and not have any suspicion at all into his island, of course. And what other reason could there be, really? I mean, this doesn't make any sense for there to be any other reason. Now, this is essentially where Jeffrey Epstein's case gets closed and the FBI figures out what he did that was horrible and tragic and wrong, and he went to prison for life. Only he didn't actually go to prison for life because he ended up getting executed or committing suicide at the same time. It's highly believed that Jeffrey Epstein died by the hands of his cellmate, who was this big, bulky, big dude. That before he was the cellmate of Jeffrey Epstein, he murdered people. So, it's highly likely that he killed Jeffrey Epstein.